Okay, whenever Mayor is ready. we can
All
start.
right, then I will call to order this meeting of the Bishop City Council for Monday, September 13th at 6:01 p.m. If you could please stand for our invocation and remain standing for a pledge of allegiance. Our invocation today will be given by Pastor Rick Klug of the Calvary Baptist Church. And then please remain standing for the pledge by Councilmember Garcia. Hey, Rick.
Hi, thank you, Mayor, Council, let's pray. Father God, thank you for your love for us. Thank you that you allow us to work and do business before you. And I just pray, we pray for our leaders, especially our city council and the city leaders this evening, but also for our nation. We pray that you would give them wisdom and grace and understanding, ability to make the right decisions. Lord, you know that so much of our nation is divided and we're angry and there's people who are discouraged. Help us to bring encouragement to those who need it. Help us to speak the truth, but always to do it with grace. And that we as a small community could really work on being united, even in our differences, and not allow these things to divide us. Again, I just ask you to bless and keep our leaders, and I thank you for them. And this we pray together in Jesus' name. Amen.
Everybody, please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Robin, can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Kong. Here. Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Ellis.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Schwartz.
Here.
Mayor Mahovy.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to public comment. Notice to the public, this time is set aside to receive public comment on matters not calendared on the agenda. When recognized, please state your name and address for the record, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Under California law, we are generally prohibited from discussing or taking action on items not included on the agenda. However, we may respond briefly to comments or questions from a member of the public. So we will definitely listen, but we might not take action on it right now. Robin, did we have any public comment on our email?
No public comments in our public comment email. And I do not see any raised hands, but you can ask for comment.
Sure. Do we have any of the attendees wishing to speak in public comment? Raise your hand if you do. There's a little raise hand button at the bottom. Okay. I don't see any, so we will move on to the first of our 3 proclamations. Our first proclamation is a proclamation for Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15 to October 15, requested by Councilmember Jose Garcia to recognize and support his Hispanic Heritage Month. Do we have anyone who is going to be receiving this proclamation, Robin? This one?
No, this is just to recognize for the city of Bishop.
Can't see it.
We're going to have it in our front office as people enter.
Okay. I mean, obviously, we definitely recognize all the contributions that Hispanic residents of our community have made now and for as long as they have been here. There are quite a few that we know around, including a couple on this panel. So would you like to kick us off, Karen Schwartz?
Yes. Hispanic Heritage Month, September 2021. Whereas one of America's greatest and enduring strengths has been the inclusion of individuals from different cultures who speak a variety of languages, and
whereas according to the U.S. Census Bureau, while in 2020, the U.S. Hispanic population reached 62.1 million, or 18.7%, and the state of California reported 15.5 million, or 39.4% Hispanic population. The city of Bishop Hispanic population had reached 1,200, or 30.9% in 2010, and
Whereas originally President Lyndon Johnson declared Hispanic Heritage Week in 1968. Through later legislation, the week was expanded to National Hispanic Heritage Month under the direction of President Ronald Reagan in 1988. And
whereas in the U.S., September 15th through October 15th is celebrated as National Hispanic Heritage Month, honoring the heritage and contributions made by the members of the Hispanic community. And
whereas Hispanic people in the Bishop have been a part of our community for several decades and contribute to society in unprecedented ways and to the financial growth of our community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Stephen Mahovey, Mayor of the City of Bishop, along with the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th as 2021 as Hispanic Heritage Month in the City of Bishop. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Bishop to be affixed this 13th day of September 2021. And this will be displayed in the city offices in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. Our next proclamation is for September 15th, 2021, the anniversary of the Mexican independence in the year of the 90th anniversary of the Consulate of Mexico in Fresno de Bishop. Requested by the Consul General of Mexico in Fresno to recognize and support the anniversary of Mexican independence and also the 90th anniversary of the Consulate of Mexico in Fresno. And I believe, do we have the head of Consul in Mexico in Fresno, Adriana Gonzalez Carrillo, on the line?
I do not see them online.
I don't believe Ms. Gonzalez was able to join us, but Ms. Nuria Zuniga is joined as attendee. If we can promote her as panelist, please. Ms. Zuniga, thank you for joining us. Do you mind?
Bienvenido, Nuria.
Hello, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to join you in this celebration, this session of the Council of Bishop. It's my honor and my pleasure.
We definitely appreciate you being here, and we definitely appreciate all of the work that the Mexican consulate in Fresno has done in our community. As we just touched on, roughly a third of our community is of Hispanic descent, and a lot of those are actually still Mexican citizens who require your services. So we definitely thank you for that. And Jose, did you want to say anything else?
Yes. And your title at the Mexican consulate is Ms. Zuniga?
I'm the Deputy Consul.
Deputy Consul, thank you. And it's a pleasure having you. I'll be joining you and Ms. Gonzalez on Wednesday at the Mexican Independence Day celebration and bringing with me and presenting the proclamation. It is with an honor that we have you joining us, and we're very thankful to the services that the consulate provides to Inyo County as one of the 8 counties the council serves in the Central Valley. So thank you very much for your dedication and your service. So
no, I just want to say in the name of Consul Adriana Gonzalez that it's an honor to have such an amazing allies as it's the City of Bishop Council members, especially you, Mr. Portillo, and we will be really glad to have you in our celebration. Our role here is not only to serve the Mexican community in Fresno and in all the Central Valley, but also to strengthen the bonds with all the community in here. So it will be really, really an honor to have you. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Hey, with that, Karen, you want to kick us off again?
Yes. Whereas in the early hours of September 16th, 1810, Catholic priest Miguel Hidalgo y Costilla gave El Grito de Dolores a call to arms, signaling the start of the war to liberate Mexico from Spain rule. After 11 years of war, Spain withdrew its troops in 1821 and Mexico became an independent nation. And
whereas the great state of California was a territory of Mexico from 1821 through 1846, and the remnants of that history is evident today in the names of cities such as Merced, Dos Palos, Los Baños, Madera, Fresno, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Sacramento, among many others. And
whereas due to the importance of the Mexican community in the development of the state of California, especially the Central Valley, the government of Mexico opened the consulate in Fresno in 1931, celebrating in 2021 90 years of service. And
whereas since 2017, the Consulate of Mexico travels to the city of Bishop, bringing the mobile consulate program, assisting the Mexican community in Inyo County, issuing passports, voting ID cards, and birth certificates, among other services. And
whereas the city of Bishop recognizes the contributions made by people from Mexico to our community and honors the unbreakable bond between our cultures, we join in celebrating the 211th anniversary of the independence of Mexico and the 90th anniversary of the Mexican consulate in the Central Valley. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Stephen Mahovey, Mayor of the City of Bishop, along with the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim September 15th, 2021 as the anniversary of the Mexican independence and the year of the 90th anniversary of the Consulate of Mexico in Fresno Day. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Bishop to be affixed this 13th day of September 2021. And we'll make sure to get this proclamation to you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Zuniga.
thank you, Ms. Zuniga.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Our pleasure.
And we have one more proclamation today. It is a proclamation for the California Indian Day, September 24th, 2021, suggested by Councilmember Jose Garcia to recognize and celebrate California Indian Day in support and respect of the Bishop tribal community. I saw at least Gloriana Bailey on, and we have many, well, our neighbors, we have very strong connections with all of the tribal council. And so we have our chairman of the Bishop Paiute Tribal Council, Mr. Tilford Denver on. Is that correct? Ah, the whole tribal council is on. Hi, guys. We can't hear you because unfortunately you're muted. But I don't know if you guys wanted to say
Hey, Manahu, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Again, I'd like to do some introductions real quick. I have my Vice Chairman, Jeff Romero. Good evening, everyone. I have Councilman Alan Summers. Hello. The Councilwoman Joyce White. Hello. And our Assistant Tribal Administrator, Cody Yeager. And Councilman Orihuela is unable to be here at this time. Oh, actually, his online, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, there he is. And I mean, we definitely think that this is a very worthwhile proclamation that, of course, we definitely enjoy and respect you guys as neighbors and look forward to working on many projects together. As I know a lot of us have chatted to various capacities, and especially during these trying times, I think it's only appropriate that we proclaim California Indian Day.
Mr. Mayor, do we
Yes.
want to promote Gloriana Bailey as well, or?
Oh, I did. But let me do it again.
Okay.
And so we have here the proclamation. Did any other council members want to say some words beforehand?
Well, actually, I'll go ahead and again, thank the City Council for recognizing our people. As you know, we're the original people in this valley, and A lot of times I think people forget that. But again, to recognize it on behalf of all our tribal citizens, it's really important that this be done. And I'm sure we'll all be appreciative of your efforts, City Council. And we look forward to sharing working with you closely as our good friends and neighbors. And any other council members would like to say anything?
Yeah, I would just like to say something. My name is Jeff Romero, Vice Chairman, and on behalf of the rest of the council, I would just like to say thank you to the Bishop City Council for recognizing our tribe on California Indian Day. This is a huge day for us. We do a lot of celebrations, and I want to thank Mr. Jose Garcia for suggesting this to the City Council for the recognizing of California Indian Day. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank you for acknowledging the indigenous people here in the valley. It's really important to all of us. So thanks again.
Hi, Councilwoman Joyce White. Want to thank all of you for your interest that you've shown in putting together this proclamation for us. Again, we're so happy that you're able to do this, and we look forward to working with you again. Thanks a lot.
So, Mr. Mayor, you could hand deliver that at noon tomorrow?
For sure. I will definitely do that.
Okay, and that's our comments. And again, we're very appreciative and thank you.
And I mean, it's more than just a recognition. I mean, we definitely view you guys as partners. And I know that even though on a map there are boundaries, both our communities are just crossing back and forth. And I also want to thank every single one of you for your services, because as everyone on this call knows, it's more often than not a thankless job. And so thank you guys very much for stepping up to represent your communities and doing it so well. And yeah, we look forward to chatting tomorrow and enjoying lunch. And with that, Karen, you want to kick us off?
California Indian Day, September 24th, 2021. Whereas California Indian Day is recognized by the state of California on the fourth Friday of September, and
Whereas California Indian Day was first proposed in 1939 as Native American Day when Governor Colbert Olson dedicated October 1st as Indian Day, and
Whereas in 1968, California tribal leaders and Governor Ronald Reagan declared the fourth Friday of September as California Indian Day, and
Whereas the City of Bishop City Council also hereby recognizes the longstanding relationship with the neighboring Bishop Paiute tribal community, the Nuumu, and in making this proclamation, we are hereby paying tribute and respect to the culture, diversity, innovation, and resiliency that has existed by the Nuumu.
Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Stephen Mahovey, Mayor of the City of Bishop, along with the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim the fourth Friday of September as California Indian Day. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Bishop to be affixed this 13th day of September 2021. Yeah, thank you guys so much for everything you guys do. And
we're looking forward to our lunch tomorrow.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We're very excited about it. Okay.
Thank you,
City Council.
Have a great
Yes.
evening, everyone.
I would like to add, Mr. Mayor, that I would like to thank Ms. Gloriana Bailey because she was very happy and excited when I came and talked to her about this project, and she did help me out in putting together the proclamation. So thank you, Ms. Bailey, and I'm looking forward to meeting all tribal council members and working with you. We're neighbors, we are one community, and we should be working together more often.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
yes, you too. Okay, our next item is the Bishop Union High School Student Senate update, presented by Bishop Union High School Student Senate Vice Chair Abby Gabriel. Can we promote Abby
Yeah.
to
Sorry,
panelist?
I had to let someone in.
No worries. Hi, Abby.
Good evening.
Welcome. What's going on at the high school?
So first off, I would like to thank the City Council for providing the Student Senate the time for our report during these meetings. And I would like to open by reading the Senate's mission statement. Bishop High School Student Senate is a form of student government dedicated to receiving and projecting the student body voice to the community and the Bishop Unified School District through the following: promoting student interests, needs, and welfare, acting as an intermediary between staff, administration, board, and students, and serving our community and school with integrity and passion. We are committed to serving all of our students regardless of individual differences, including but not limited to age, cultural background, disability, ethnicity, domestic situation, gender presentation, immigration status, race, religion, sex, sexual orientation, and socioeconomic status. We are excited to start out the school year in person and see our peers again, and are currently in the first steps of starting our projects for the year. Student Senate will be continuing to support the mental health of our peers by sending out our weekly check-in, which has a spot for them to voice their opinions and concerns. Another project that we are continuing to work on this year is the beautification of the school. At the end of the last school year, we were fortunate enough to paint the bathroom stalls in the math building, bringing joy to both the students and the staff. We are currently deciding on which beautification project we would like to work on next, and are looking at painting the bathroom stalls in the English building. Additionally, the Student Senate's next open panel meeting is on October 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m. in the Carlin Boardroom. Thank you for your time. Have a good evening and stay safe.
Thanks. Any questions, comments for Abby? Then
Hey,
thank
Abby.
you for, oh,
Sorry, Stephen. Abby,
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna be in contact with you probably later this week because I have a thought about your mental health stuff that you're working on. I'm really think it's a great thing you're doing, and I'd like to help if possible.
Okay, thank you.
okay, thanks for joining us, Abby, and you have a good evening. And we will move on now to the County of Inyo update report, prepared and presented by 2nd District Supervisor Jeff Griffiths. Hey, Jeff.
Hello, good evening, Mayor, members of council. You've received my written report where I discussed the current COVID situation, the recently passed 2021-2022 Inyo County budget, broadband, and fire danger, and the closures on the Indian National Forest. I don't have a whole lot to add on that. I'll answer any questions that you have. You know, I know as far as the forest closures go, I know many of you have been in contact with Indian National Forest staff, as have we, and there's nothing to be announced publicly right now, but I do think that there'll be some positive developments coming very soon. So stay tuned for that. And before I answer any of your questions, I'll put on another hat, being the Arts Council board, and Mill Pond Music Festival is coming up. And hopefully you can attend. And I do have tickets for all of the council members who wish to use them. So normally I hand these out, but if you guys just contact me, I will find a way to get them to you, and hopefully you all can attend. It's a great lineup, and ticket sales are better than ever. So we're pretty excited about this year's festival. So with that said, I'm happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
Do you guys still need volunteers?
Sure. Well, me personally, I do the setup and tear down. So if you're free on Thursday or Sunday after the show, I'd happy to take you. And there are some other volunteer shifts that are available.
Okay. Cool. If anybody wants to volunteer, reach out to the Inyo Council for the Arts. Are we reaching out to Lynn still, or?
You can reach out to Lynn, or you can reach out to me directly. I can make it happen as well.
Awesome. Sounds good.
I have a question, Jeff. In your report, you mentioned that the public health officer is not going to do a mask mandate. Is there sort of a threshold that will trigger a mask mandate, or is he just not wanting to go there? What's the reasoning?
So to be careful not to get into the health officer's mind as far as he makes his decisions, but the positivity rates have been reasonably moderate during this whole time, which I think is a fair way to say that they're not great, but they're not what we're seeing in other areas of the country and even other areas of rural California. And given the contentious political nature regarding any sort of mandates right now, I think the general thought was to try to use education and get voluntary compliance through the community. And my personal experience is maybe it's about half and half right now. I think that if we were to see the type of surge that they're seeing in other parts of the country and sort of limits on the hospital capacity, then we could go there. But so far, Dr. Richardson has not felt the need to do that.
Okay, thanks.
Jeff, I had a question. Under your budget highlights, it says contribute $600K to housing solutions for veterans, work-based housing, and low-income residents. Can you give a little more detail on that?
Like I said later in the thing, a lot of this is not totally fleshed out because we're waiting on, particularly in the housing arena, we're waiting to see how the state legislature finalizes all of their housing programs. And so we've set, so one thing that we're for sure doing is we're dedicating a staff position to be a housing coordinator for the whole county. And then we're reserving the rest of that funding to use it flexibly, looking to see how the state budget, all of the housing initiatives that the state is doing flesh out, because really where that's going to be most useful is in matching funds and seed money. And so we want to be able to be flexible and use that when the opportunities arise.
Okay, I'll patiently wait.
No, you're not patiently waiting. You're a whole part of the process.
Is patience one of your strong suits, Karen? I was unaware of that.
No, not even when I was a child at Christmas was patience a virtue for me.
But Councilwoman Kong is pushy with a smile, so it's always good.
Cool. Any other questions or comments? And I just want to remind the public that I'm sure it would definitely help sway Dr. Richardson into maintaining a no mask mandate if we all went out and got vaccinated.
There you go. And our vaccination rate is it's good from a nationwide standpoint. We still have a room to grow, but we have seen a steady increase in people coming into the multitude of places where they can get the free vaccine.
Be great if we could get above the state average.
Yeah, but come get your tickets. Call me. Get your tickets. Come to the show. It's going to be fun.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jeff. Okay, moving on to department reports. We'll start off today with Fire Chief Joe Dell.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. How am I coming through?
Loud and clear.
Thanks. Had a couple busy weeks, couple really great functions. We did the Derby, which is always a big crowd pleaser. And hopefully everybody there was vaccinated so we don't pass on any COVID. But we had a really great turnout and a really good show. I think the main heat, people said that it was probably one of the best that they can remember. And then we had a 9/11 remembrance climb here just this Saturday, which was amazing. We had over 100 participants, probably closer to 140 participants who climb to remember all those lost on 9/11. So been busy, with events, and then, squeezing in some calls in between those. We actually staffed the fair. Oh, earthquake at my house. We actually staffed the fair for EMS. Simon's had some staffing problems, so we provided coverage there. And then we've just been kind of pushing forward, and things are good.
That sounds good. I mean, I missed the Derby because I was in the ticket booth all night, helping people get in.
Very busy, very busy. We've got some ideas on how to make things go a little bit smoother next year, and then we'll go from there. So,
well, for one, I want to remind the public that the Derby does sell out, and it sells out pretty early in the day. So buy your tickets ahead of time, and when you show up at the ticket booth at around 7:30 at night, when it started at 7, don't be surprised when there aren't any left.
Joe. Hey, great Derby, and thanks for all you guys did for the community on 9/11 also. But yeah, the Derby, you guys put on a great show, great support. And you're right, the main event was truly, battle to the death, and way to go. It was just crowd went crazy, and all the feedback I got was incredibly positive. So thank you.
Yeah, our team did a great job. The guys put in a whole bunch of work, and it really went off well.
Yep. And good 50-50.
And I don't want to speak for Stephen, but I was super excited that you lent us a fire truck for the parade. It was very exciting to ride on the top of a fire truck. So thank you for that, especially since we asked such late notice.
Yeah, well, we do things late notice, just set off the whistle. We'll be there.
I know. I definitely got to live out a childhood fantasy that I never even knew I had, but it was great. Thanks, Joe. And hopefully all the fires will calm down in the next few weeks. Maybe some cooler weather on the horizon.
Well, as you know, this is the time of year that the fires flip from Northern California to Southern California and follow the Santa Anas. So,
right. Well, fingers crossed for not being as bad in the south as it was in the north. Hey, if there are no other questions or comments, we'll move on to Police Chief Richard Standridge. Hey, Rich.
Hello, Council. How is everybody tonight?
Doing well, thank you.
So, quite a few things to talk about. We've had quite a bit go on since the last couple of weeks. Obviously, we had the parade, which went off very well. And my picture of my council is cooler than yours is going over quite well. Over in the valley, my wife is rubbing that in everyone's face, by the way, because they do not ride in a fire truck. So you definitely one-upped them there. Parade was good. Like I said, no major issues. We just got to work through some traffic and logistic things next year if it's going to continue in the same way. But I think, working with Destin and Caltrans and some of the other folks, I think we can, iron out quite a few things. We're going to have a lot more. I think things will get done a lot earlier. There were no major issues reported at the fair as far as law enforcement concerns. Pretty good time, safe time for everyone. I really enjoyed my first Tri-County Fair as the police chief of Bishop, and getting to go out and meet a lot of the members of the community. It was really exciting. So I've got to meet with Larry over at IMACA during this last period. Got over there, talked with him about some of the mental health things, their program, what they're doing to move forward. Really good stuff. Attended the No Harm event put on by Northern Inyo. And as a matter of fact, that event was really well turned out. Councilman Garcia was there with me for a while. There were probably well over 200 people that made it out to that event. It was really well attended. Got to meet a lot of folks. Actually got to meet a second cousin there. It was pretty cool. So with that being said, tomorrow we're actually getting on a Zoom meeting, and they're putting together the law enforcement Overdose Prevention Task Force is kicking back off with members from myself, Inyo and Mono counties, and members of NIH. So we're going to kind of see how that goes after tomorrow. So I should have more to report next meeting on how that goes. Our Academy cadet, Carla, is doing really well. So we're happy with that progress. We're monitoring that closely. I threatened her with a trip down there that we were going to come and check on her while she's in the academy, but I don't know if we'll be able to pull that off. I'm hoping so, just to kind of encourage her along as well as she's doing. Our new hire starts Monday. And so we're still working on the logistics of her swear-in and everything like that. But if it's not able to be done by any council members, depending upon how we can get it done, if not, we'll do something at the next council meeting if that's appropriate. We're starting to talk about the planning of the holiday events, both Shop with a Cop and Trunk or Treat. Meetings are starting to happen regarding both of those events. And actually the VFW is talking about getting involved with us this year with Shop with a Cop to kind of expand it even further. So we're going to kind of see how that goes. I'm attending the school board meeting this coming week. I haven't got to meet those folks yet, so I'll be out there this Thursday night. And recently I was I was appointed to the California Peace Officer Association Legal Trustee Board. So we'll see how that goes. I'm trying to get involved in some of those activities to get Bishop out there a little more on the map statewide and give us more of a say and influence in programs and boards throughout the state as it relates to California Peace Officer things. And I'm gonna start encouraging other members of the department to find out where we can fit other folks from here in there as well. And I was also selected to sit on the post command college interviews for the next upcoming cycle. And I'm doing that again as another way to get Bishop out there and get Eastern Sierra law enforcement involved in some of those programs. So we've got a lot of things going on, and we'll kind of see what I have next time around.
You know, just a short list of all of the activities that are keeping you occupied.
Well,
Definitely.
one thing real quick I kind of glossed over is we did make an arrest in some of our burglaries. And so the folks did an outstanding job, and I don't want to close out here without recognizing Officer Zimmel, Officer O'Brien, and also Officer Hohenstein have all done an outstanding job in different pieces of that case, getting some resolution, and we're still working it. So hopefully we can keep things going.
Yeah, good work there. Sounds good. Any comments, questions from the council?
Good job, Rich. When are we expecting Carla to be done with the academy?
November. So I know you and I talked about an event. I want to wait for her to get sworn in to do that. I think that'd be important. So you and I will work together on that and get that to happen. But hopefully the weather holds out for us. And then I'd like to introduce all three of those officers to the community event we're talking about holding. So November will be about the time frame. And she's doing well, so I don't expect any issues. Get her on board, get her sworn in. And we're still trying to fill the last vacant position we have here. And then the sergeant testing again is coming up in the next month. So we're going to start moving forward there as well.
Even if we have to rent a space at the fairgrounds to have an event indoor, I think it's going to be appropriate to introduce her to the community, introduce you on an event like that. And we should plan on something like that.
I agree. As a matter of fact, I'll start looking into that. Not this week's pretty packed, but I'll put it on my schedule for the following week, and maybe you and I can have a discussion on that and kind of see where we want to go with that, if that's okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Chief, what's the name of the new officer that should be here on Monday?
Gosviner is her last name. I always do this because I have her brother. I had her brother used to work for me. Rochelle. I always want to say Michelle. It's Rochelle. Sorry, Rochelle Gosviner. So I've met her. She's really excited to be here. She's picking up her uniforms in the next couple of days, and we'll be moving over.
Great.
It's great. Any other questions? No. Thanks, Chief. We'll talk to you soon. And Next up, we have Public Works Director Destin Deschamps.
Good evening, Mayor Mahovey and council members. So that's a brief list of stuff that's happened in the last couple of weeks. We've finished our recruitment of a maintenance worker, just waiting on the last step of the hiring process, physical, and then hopefully have him on board by the end of the week. So that's great news for Public Works. I want to touch a little more on the parade, and I really want to thank the Bishop PD, the Sheriff's Department, the Highway Patrol, and my crew. There was a lot of work that went on in a short amount of time, and I think it went off very well. Traffic control is always tough. It's even tougher on a holiday weekend. We had more traffic than I've ever seen go through the detour, and with not too many problems either. As Chief Standard said a little earlier, we can work through those problems, but it was a lot of work, and I just want to thank my crew for what they did to make that happen. And also, we assisted with the first Friday night market again this week, and it was an expanded area. I think it went well, and I guess we have one more to come in October. This Thursday, we'll be conducting consultant interviews for the East Line Street Bridge Environmental and Design. Have a panel one from the city and one from the county that will assist me with that. Hope to be bringing back a contract for your approval in the next month or so. The home, the abandoned house on 437 Short Street was actually demolished today. About a 1.5 year process to get there. So by the end of the week, it should be a bare dirt lot. So I think that's great news for that neighborhood and the entire city. And I will say that the property owner was responsible, did this, with some merging, but that we didn't have to go through the whole process. So that was nice. They did it on their own. Just to update the poll, everybody's probably wondering where the buttons are to push for the crosswalk at Line and Main Street. It's like everything else that goes with street lights right now. They're just waiting on a pole to get built and get here. They're hoping that'll happen maybe next week. And lastly, I want to, because the new traffic pedestrian crossings will be in service supposedly this week, is what we're told. Caltrans put out it's about a 2-minute video that's going to explain how those work. And if it's all right with everybody, I'd like to share it real quick because they are a little bit confusing and they're not quite, you see 3 lights that are set up in a triangular orientation. So it takes about 2 minutes, but it does a real good job of explaining what they're going to do and what the purpose of them is. So if Jenny will let me share my screen, I will.
You can share your screen.
I did. Okay, thank you.
Don't forget to push the optimize button at the bottom for video.
Yes, to make it. I'm waiting for it here. Hopefully. Okay, now we're losing it again. I had practiced this today and now it's not wanting to agree. Okay, live. Share. Look. There we go. Sorry about that. I think, can you guys see this?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Safety is one of Caltrans's most important priorities, and in District 9, we've been working to improve safety along our highways with the Pedestrian Safety Project. The project started construction earlier this year, installing new crosswalk signals in Big Pine and Lone Pine. Crews are installing 2 more crossing signals in Bishop, but these may work a bit differently than what you're used to. For pedestrians, the experience will be as it is with any other signal crosswalk. Simply press the button to activate it, wait for traffic to stop, and then cross when the sign says to. For motorists, these new signals will include 5 phases of traffic beacons they'll need to abide by. In the first phase, the light is dark. When you see this, it means nobody has activated the signal and you're free to drive through as you normally would. When somebody presses the button across the street, the second phase will begin, which is a blinking yellow light alerting motorists to the pedestrian waiting to cross the street. This is followed by a solid yellow light, which means vehicles should prepare to stop. In the fourth phase, the light will turn solid red. This is when pedestrians will be allowed to cross, and vehicles should remain at a full stop when the light is solid red. Finally, after a pedestrian has started crossing, the lights will start flashing red. During this phase, drivers must come to a stop, but can proceed when pedestrians have cleared the crosswalk. Following this, the traffic light will go dark again. As seen in this video, a crosswalk like this is currently in operation in Mammoth Lakes, where authorities say it's had great success in giving pedestrians peace of mind in a popular part of town.
Public safety is our #1 priority. And this crosswalk here, due to the thousands and thousands of people that cross across here every day, it's really added in safety, including the ski resort. People driving down, allowing people to cross across safely and with an ease of mind.
The new crosswalk signals are expected to be operational by the end of September in 2 locations in Bishop, at the intersection of Line Street and Edward Street near the post office, and on Main Street at the intersection of East Elm. For Caltrans District 9, I'm Christopher Andreessen.
So when in doubt, just say, let me talk to my manager. Next, Carvana's
Hopefully,
100% online
now we
shopping
got-
experience. Carvana.
Sorry about that.
No worries. It's
So
it's
I
good
think
it's
that was
finally
actually
happening. Yeah.
it is actually pretty helpful, I think, because those are going to be a little bit confusing at the beginning, and I think that's for everybody involved. So hopefully that was helpful. And lastly, I just want to say I totally forgot the fire department. They helped with the parade as much as anybody does, and I don't want to leave them out of there. But other than that, unless you have any questions of me, that's all I have.
I have nothing. Any other council members? No? Well, thanks for everything, and thank your staff as well for us. Up next, we have Community Services Manager Dan McElroy. Hi,
Good
Dan.
evening, Mayor and Council. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Just a quick update from the park, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Brittany Rossi Wiles to give you an update from the summer programs really quick and just hit you guys with some numbers and everything good that we did this summer. It's just kind of nice to reflect and recap everything that we did. First off, we wrapped up Labor Day Art in the Park, worked with the Arts Council on that. It was well attended and the vendors did great with sales. So that's also a boost to our economy with sales tax, and just a great event. Lynn Cooper is awesome and does a great job. In the park, we're having a lot of requests for parties and outings. Of course, in the fall, that's pretty typical. A lot of birthday parties, a lot of quinceañeras, well, without alcohol, of course, and just a lot of bookings in the park for different parties. I've had a couple of requests in the last couple of weeks to do maybe some Frisbee golf, but I'm going to run that, of course, through our Parks and Rec Commission, and then looking at doing some composting at the community garden with a few grants, but also it has to do with location. So working out the details with the community gardeners and the parties that are involved there. At the park, we finished all of the full aeration of the park and fertilizer today. We're also conducting irrigation audits all week long to make sure everything's running efficiently and also reducing our water as we go later into the season. It's just the right thing to do. And next up in the park, we also have the Eastern Sierra Tree Service, who has begun working on trees and our tree safety program. As you know, the council allows us $10,000 in our budget every year to do some tree safety. And so Eastern Sierra Tree, you'll see them in the park throughout the week doing a lot of tree trimming. Our usage, of course, in the park continues to be our AYSO, high school tennis, City League soccer, and also swim team, lap swim, and aerobics class at the pool. This week, I will be going to the Mill Pond Music Festival to help the Arts Council on Thursday, take a load of everything, the workshop tent and stages and everything up there for Mill Pond Music Festival. And in the future, we're looking at doing the car show in the entire park on October 2nd. We don't know what the participation level is. It could be anywhere from 50 cars to 500 cars. We don't know yet, but we're in the final stages of prepping that event and getting ready for that as well. And that's all I have. And I'll turn it over to Brittany unless you guys have any questions for me at this time.
Jim has a question, and then I'll ask another one.
Dan, kind of a question. I had two different citizens reach out to me, which kind of surprised me, about the new park, the playground that we put in last year. They had I guess more of a concern that there's one bench only there for parents to sit on. And they were asking if we could possibly increase that number. So I told them I would pass it on to you. And I know it's probably not quite the place, but just passing on came to my mind again. So.
Will do, no problem. Every year we apply for the Cal Recycle grant, of which we use recycled materials such as benches and stuff like that. We're just waiting for that to renew, and that was the plan, is to place a couple benches back there. Okay.
I will pass it on. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
And then my question, there were a couple of parents who reached out to me. Their kids are in the soccer league in AYSO. And they were bringing up that apparently the fields get watered right before the games. And so they haven't been able to sit in the grass because they'll get wet.
That's not true. The sprinklers on the AYSO games, and I double checked that today as we do our audits, are off on those days.
Okay.
So.
All right. Yeah. I guess they mentioned that there was a line of parents just sitting in their cars because the grass was wet. So just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Right. And with the irrigation reduction will help that, but there's always dew on the grass in the mornings.
Oh, yeah. That's what grass is for. Hi, Brittany.
Hi, how are you guys?
Doing well. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate being able to give this recap at the end of every summer for our summer camps in the pool. This year, Parks and Rec were able to do our full day 8-week camps for kids ages 5 to 10 years old. This year, we were able to do camps for 310 kids in comparison to 230 in 2019. So we had a nice jump there. We expanded our camps by 10 for each week. So that was really great. These camps include the aquatics camp, gymnastics, challenger sports, art, Playhouse 395, science, and our adventure camp. We also added 2 art camps for ages 9 to 14 this year. And we're really hoping to be able to add a skate camp, fish camps, and volleyball and more art next year for the ages of 9 to 14 as well. Highlights for the camps this year were definitely the field trips. It was really great being able to do those again. We weren't able to obviously last year. We got to go to Crowley Lake twice and kayak and paddleboard. We went to Cardinal Village and enjoyed some corn dogs, hiking, and checked out a couple mines up there. They got to go to the Hot Creek geological site, the bowling alley, movie theater, and a big add this year was the Mammoth Mountain Adventure Park for the kids. They really enjoyed that during adventure camp. I'd really like to take the time to thank a few people that really added to the experience this year. We had Mark Hodges from EARS for our science camp, Erin Livingston for our art camp. She did our regular art camp for the ages 5 to 10 and the kids 9 to 14. Challenger Sports came this year and we had 2 instructors from Brazil. They were great with the kids and super funny. All the kids and parents had great reviews for them. Francisco Santana for gymnastics. And then Playhouse 395. Specifically, I'd like to thank Jen Davis and Tarina Ganyang for putting on a full-length junior play. They did Frozen and the kids loved it, and it turned out fantastic. And then these camps are not possible without my site coordinators and program leaders. So I'd like to thank Nancy Gonzalez and Deanna Velasco, and my program leaders, Juliana Garcia and Haley Paco and Stephen Poole. Without them, the camps are just absolutely not possible. They do such a great job with the kids, and just really thank them. The pool was pretty busy this year. We hosted and were able to bring back 2 events for our Bishop swim team, which was great after COVID, or after last year's summer, not being able to do those. We hosted 22 private pool parties, 11 school pool parties. We've extended lap swim, aerobics, and swim team to October 1st, which is awesome. Public swim was busy, and we sold a record number of candy bars this year to the kids. Swim lessons, we usually sell between 350 and 400 swim lessons. And that was an above average in 2019. This year we sold almost 460. So we're coming close to the 500. So that is huge for us. Family formation is a huge part of that. We work with them, and they get a lot of their kids signed up for swim lessons. So it's just great to know that with just one pool, 460 swim lessons is a lot in 6 weeks. And I've talked to other pools, and it's a big number. So we're pretty excited about that. Next year, we're really looking forward to bringing in dive-in movies again, and some more of our big private pool parties. Those were minimized this year. And yeah, I just want to thank the pool staff. I had great managers again, and a great staff. So thank you to all of them. And just looking forward, after school program is full and going smooth so far. It's nice to be an after school program again, and not an all day school program. So I'm glad the kids are back in school, and we can just be the after school care that they need. And then working on the kids' night out with Carrie Poole. We have our first one coming up this Friday, and it's going to be a dive-in movie. So we're pretty excited about that. Any questions?
I don't think I have any questions, just a lot of commendations, because this is a phenomenal work by you guys and your staff, as you mentioned. And so definitely thank them again. I mean, we did, I believe it was, I don't know, 2 years ago, we as a council said, well, we want to really promote more activities for the community and for families, and you guys have definitely stepped up and run with it. And so I just have a lot of gratitude for everything you guys have done.
Thank you.
If I may, really quick, just to commend Brittany even further. She does such a great job and works so incredibly hard, and works well with Carrie to do not only the kids' nights out, but she's also getting ready in her spare time to do some gymnastics classes for Tumble Tots. So I just wanted to bring that up and let you know that she does even more than what you think. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely appreciate it. Like, stellar staff right here. Any other comments, questions? Well, thanks, Brittany, and thank your staff again. Absolutely. Karen?
I was just going to say, Brittany, that I spent a lot of time at the pool this year, and every parent I talked to who was doing swimming lessons just kept saying, we just need them to be longer. We need to have 45-minute swim lessons, because everything's so wonderful that we just need it to be longer and longer. So that's a testament to you guys and how hard you're working. So good job.
Brittany, Dan, thank you for all the work you do, and please thank your volunteers for us. We really appreciate the work all of you are doing for our community.
Did you have anything else, Dan?
No, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks. And we'll move on to our update from the Associate Planner and Economic Development Coordinator, Elaine Cabala. Elaine is not yet a panelist.
I just added her.
Okay. Hi, Elaine.
Good evening, Mayor Mahove and Council. Just a quick update on some of the things that are happening in the planning department in the last couple of weeks. First, we finally heard back from Housing and Community Development on our CDBG COVID application that we submitted, I believe, in May. They have a couple of minor follow-up questions, which is pretty typical for that program, but at least our application has now been reviewed, and we're looking forward to moving forward with that program and helping some of our local businesses soon. Also wanted to let you know that staff has completed putting together an application and a template for development agreement and the procedures for permitting cannabis retail establishments in Bishop per the ordinance we passed. That's currently being reviewed by our legal team, and I am looking forward to bringing that to the council at our next meeting. We're working with Amaka and their development team to put together a funding application for the Silver Peaks project through some of the grants that are available and the funding sources that are available through the state of California. Those are due on September 20th. So we are hopeful that they'll have very positive response in those funding applications and that they're able to move forward through their entitlements and the development of that project very soon. Finally, staff requested 3 quotes for grant consulting. We were successful in receiving some very qualified proposals from 3 different firms, and we are working with one to negotiate a contract. Again, I hope to bring that before the council at the second meeting in September. And then finally, we anticipate processing 1 planning commission application this month for a conditional use permit with a request to exceed the allowable square footage for signage. Happy to take any questions this evening. Thank you.
I guess the only question I have with regards to that is, I know there's that a signage ordinance is a part of our downtown specific plan. Do you have any idea on when that would be coming to us?
Yes. We are expecting an administrative draft in the next couple of weeks. I will review that with Mr. Phillips and Mr. John, and also probably will reach out to a few other people to really, vet that document, which, as you indicated, will not only provide different zoning amendments, but will include design guidelines and an updated signage ordinance, which I'm really excited about. So once we have provided feedback on the administrative draft, there will be one more opportunity for public input looking into October, where we have a little bit of extra funding through the REAP grant that was provided through the Housing and Community Development Department of the state of California. So we can do one more additional round of public input. And moreover, I think we have some funding to provide a mailer to each of the property owners within the specific area, letting them know that there's going to be standard changes and giving them notice so that they can provide feedback before this is considered by the council as well. And then the final draft will come before the council, the planning commission, and the council for consideration in late November or early December. The ordinance cannot be adopted until we do CEQA for that. And so that is a concurrent process that we're running through a separate grant through the state of California. And we're anticipating that the CEQA will be completed in March of 2022. And so this is, there will be a lot of moving pieces here around zoning changes, how we codify that into our ordinance, how we address the specific plan, how we consider design guidelines and signage ordinances. So in the next few months, I expect that I'll probably be coming before you a lot to really sequence the timing and the consideration of that so that we can implement it with the most, with the maximum effect and as quickly as possible, while also ensuring that we're updating our zoning code to reflect these new policies and development standards that are being proposed through this process.
Any other comments, questions from the council? And thanks.
Tired just listening to you, Elaine. So thank you for all the hard work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elaine. And we will move on to City Administrator Ron Phillips.
Thank you, Mayor Mahovey, members of council. Good to be with you this evening. I just am continually amazed at the excellent professionalism of the city staff and what they do with a very limited number of people. We're not a large organization at all, and they just do a terrific job, and I'm pleased and proud to be associated with them. I think the Tri-County Fair seemed to be a great success this year. Our partners, the fair board and fair staff, did a great job. All the events were extremely well attended and things went well. The parade was a success, as it has been reported. And all the departments were involved and did a great job in helping to support those activities. And I think the 9/11 stair climb the fire fighters put on was an excellent success, and I appreciate them doing such a great job with that. If you have any questions for me, I'll be glad to try to address them.
None from me. Anyone else?
I had a question that just occurred to me, Ron, and if you don't know the answer, that's okay. A few meetings back, we voted to do a review of all of our codes, something that hadn't been done until 1985. Are we going to get a report from that? And have you seen hide nor hair? Do we know what the timeline is for that?
Yes, that's underway. Robin may have more information related to the current activity on that than I do. I hate to put her on the spot, but.
Well, we will get the report back and get a chance to look at it.
Yes.
Okay, great.
It will take a little bit of time to get through that.
Okay, thanks. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Jim, did you have something? No? Okay. Well, then we will move on right along onto our consent calendar. Notice to the public, all matters under the consent calendar considered routine by the city and will be acted on by one motion. Do we have any comments or questions on the consent calendar? Do we have any public comment? I don't see any hands raised. Robin, did we get any emails? I'm going to take the silence as we didn't get any public comment. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent calendar as presented.
I can second that.
Okay, Robin, we have a motion, a second. Call for the vote.
Then he's going up to check on her right now.
Robin, you're muted. And we have 2 City of Bishop logged on.
She can't unmute herself.
She can't unmute herself, so she's having trouble unmuting herself, so Jenny's going to try to take care of that.
Okay.
I've asked her to unmute, but it's.
Dean, can we have somebody else call for the vote?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to keep the meeting moving forward, we have a motion and a second. Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Ellis,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Schwartz,
Yes.
Mayor Mahovey.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, on to new business. Our first item is radio encryption upgrade. So council consideration to approve the proposed radio system upgrade to follow the California Department of Justice policy change. Jenny, can we have our police chief promoted?
Yes, sorry. I'll do that right now.
Just done.
Thanks.
Welcome back, Rich.
Thank you much. I was gone quite a while.
Ah, lots of updates happening.
Absolutely.
So what do you want to tell us about this item?
So why we need to do this? Well, first off, let me start. We have the money to pay for it. It was already budgeted in this year, so we're good to go in that respect. Why we need to do this is it's a current DOJ policy to start restricting the amount of information that can be heard over the air by the general public. Part of that reasoning has been due to issues throughout the state of where, press and different people are tracking down victims of crime, suspects of crime, witnesses, things like that, based on the information they receive over the air because it's not encrypted. So part of what we want to do is get our main radio channel encrypted. And we need to do that as we only have one police dispatcher on at any given time. So in order to get around this type of DOJ requirement would just be too cumbersome on staff and could lead to potential mistakes. It will still allow us to speak to both fire and EMS, our local partners that we need to speak with. Inyo County will still have a line to be able to get in contact with us, and our other secondary channel will not be encrypted. So it's just going to be our primary channel. So it's my recommendation that we go ahead and get this done ahead of the curve, because if we don't, it'll be mandated within the next couple of years anyway. And we have the money right now to get it done with no major budget issues. So it's my recommendation we move forward.
I mean, that seems reasonable, especially since it's already budgeted, and then we do it once and we're set. Any comments, questions from the council?
Yeah, Chief Standridge, thank you for bringing this forth to us. I'm actually kind of surprised we haven't gone to this. I know CHP went to this when I was still a dispatcher at the PD, I believe. So it's been quite a while. And I think that we've been lucky that we haven't had problems with this, because a lot of stuff does go over that radio, identifies where people are at and where they're not at and who they are and ages and weights and stuff people don't want out there. So thank you for getting this moving forward and keeping us in line and looking out for the liability on the city's part. So good job.
I'm sorry, Mayor. The only potential issue we're going to incur, and I'll field the phone calls and explain, is there's a lot of people in Bishop that listen to the scanner, and it's going to be eliminated. And that's just something that we cannot get around. It's either we do it willingly or the state's going to do it forcefully. And like I said, I'd rather get it done while we haven't had any issues. We're still in compliance with the state, be ahead of the curve and do it while we have the money. instead of a year or two down the road when we don't have the money and we're forced to do it anyway.
And Chief, one more question.
Yes, sir.
When I was in there, I used to always be able to listen to Sheriff's Department and all the different traffics. Is that still going to be, we're encrypted? Will the Sheriff's Department still be able to listen to ours to know what we're up to? And within interagencies, will they still have access to each other's communications so they know what's happening?
That's going to be a whole other issue when the Sheriff's Department switches to their new radio system. They're moving to a whole different system. I'm not 100% familiar with it. It's a project I'm kind of coming in on the back end thereof. But my understanding is they're going with a private company to handle their radio equipment from here on out. And regardless of the encryption, we would not have communication with them anymore. So we'll have to use the hotline and some other avenues.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that idea, just because in moments, in quick moments that happen out there, to know what the other agency is doing, and it can get a head start to a call. Yeah. All right.
Do we have any public comment on this item?
I do not see any public comments in the public comment email. And Jenny, do we have any raised hands?
We have no raised hands.
I do have one question. Chief, and forgive me if it's in here and I missed it. I've missed a couple of things already tonight. When I know I see the date for when it has to be done by, when do you think it will be done by?
Our intention is to have it done the first of the year. And it shouldn't be the main issue in speaking with our radio supplier technician, Nate Dondero. His concern is, with some of the COVID issues, is getting the equipment in, but actually getting the upgrade itself done is a quick and pretty easy process. So our goal is the end of the year.
I was wondering about the equipment, and because everyone's having such a shortage of microchips and all those other things. So
Yeah, if we get this approved tonight, we should be able to get the order started. I talked with him today and get everything moving so we can get it done.
great, thank you.
Looks good to me.
So we have no public comment. Can I get a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the proposed radio system upgrade to follow the California Department of Justice policy change.
I'll second that.
Hey, Robin, we have a motion, a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Khan,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Ellis,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Schwartz,
Yes.
Mayor Mahovey.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0.
All right, Chief, don't go anywhere, because now we have our next item is RIMS upgrade. Council consideration to approve the proposed purchase of the Citizen RIMS software. Back to you.
Did everyone get a chance to take a look at the crime graphics map on line that I provided? So if you did, Mono County recently went to this. Inyo County has been using it. So we're the last city within the Eastern Sierra to not have this program implemented. I looked at it heavily along with staff. And we think that in order to best get information out there to the public in a timely manner, we should go to this. Part of the reason is Bishop is a busy town, but it's kind of a quiet town. We don't have a lot of the high crime that other areas do. So we don't do a ton of things on a routine basis that are necessarily press release worthy. But this will be an opportunity for all of this information when we're done at the end of a shift to upload, to let the public know exactly what's going on. We've tried utilizing the application program prior to my coming here. We've assessed it. We've met as staff and members of the department. We don't feel it's meeting our needs or the citizens' needs. And it is also costly. It's to the cost of $1,700 a year to maintain. And it's not being updated. And frankly, I don't have the staff to maintain this many different social media sites, be it app, Facebook, and Instagram. So this will be an opportunity for us to have a program that we can not only share with our partners in law enforcement and our neighbors, but make sure all the citizens of Bishop have timely and accurate information that they need ahead of what I can give them as quickly as they need it. So this is an easy process. It uploads, it requires minimal work by staff. It's going to cost us, you know, the $4,200 and some change to get it implemented, and an additional $400 a year on top of our yearly maintenance. I mean, it's a no-brainer for me, and I hope you approve this and we can get it out there and we can have this done by the end of the year also. That's going to be a long target date, but in talking with RIMS, once they get their conference done, they're anticipating within the next couple of months, we'll have this up and running for the citizens of Bishop.
So basically it'll pay for itself within 3 years, and it'll
I believe so.
And it'll be more informative and responsive to the community.
Correct. And we can control the parameters. I'll learn some more as to what those are when we go through the training. And what that'll do is we can control what it, and I don't mean control as in not being transparent, but we can control exactly the accuracy of the information that gets out there, how much and how quickly it can go out versus having to worry about press releases and things like that. We'll still do those, but this is a great supplement for those citizens that just, you know, like to use web-based applications and can log on and see what's going on in their city.
Mm-hmm. So effectively what you're saying is that for those who would feel at a loss not being able to listen to an encrypted live feed, they would get a near live feed afterwards when it gets uploaded at the end of a shift.
Correct. At this point, in just my initial review of the project, the only thing we will probably not at this point put up are the booking photos, and that's because that's done by the Inyo County Sheriff's Department, and that's something that I feel their jail staff is more qualified to do than we are, and it would just be duplicate information. So at this point, that's the only thing I anticipate not using.
Seems reasonable to me. Any other comments, questions from the council?
Yeah, Chief Standridge, I think this is a great program. I think RIMS has always been kind of the lead of citizen, I don't know, even for police department, just what they do. It's such an easy program to work within. I know a lot of people within the community who rely on the Inyo County one, the Mono County Citizen RIMS for the information. And I think in this culture where people want to know what's going on or have doubts about law enforcement, I think this is a way, you know, to just show what you guys do, show what's happening within their community. And I think the ability for this program to show where incidents are happening, what kind of incidents are happening, who's involved is an asset to all the members of the community, because it helps them see what's going on within their own community. You know, the last time, you don't want to be the last person to hear about auto burglaries when your car is missing or broken into, when you could have saw here that, hey, we're having an increase in this one area of the city. So I think money well spent. I think that the community will benefit from this. And I think the police department will benefit, you know, even among council you know, there's sometimes questions of what does our police department do? And I think here it is right here. We can go on anytime, day or night, and see what's happening within our community. So, booyah, good job.
Thank you.
Any comments from the public?
There are no public comments in the public comment email. And just to clarify, when you asked for public comment on the consent calendar, there were no public comments in the public comment email.
Okay.
Chief, one quick question. This is only going to capture arrests, not fines, not people you know, give a ticket to and leave, just arrests. Is that correct?
I don't know if we can do citations or not. I didn't even consider that, but probably not. But it will allow us to point out where burglaries, petty thefts, all those type of things. And what I'm hoping to gain by that is, like I said, some of the things we do are important to us, important to the citizens, but not necessarily press worthy.
Mm-hmm.
But if citizens can go on, they have the opportunity to log on and say, wait a minute, that burglary was just around the corner from my house. you know, and it's in my mind, it's going to allow us to keep watch of each other, to kind of be a little bit more, it allows our citizens to be a little bit more involved in the process of knowing what's going on, and hopefully solicit more calls and questions to help us get out there and solve some more crime. That's my whole goal with this.
And I'm assuming that when it gets up and running, it'll be Crime Graphics City Bishop or Bishop, and you'll let us know what that looks like.
Yes, when that comes out, I intend to do a press release to the public, both on Instagram, social media, and probably meet with our local radio folks
Terrific.
as well to get that out there.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed purchase of the Citizen RIM software.
I'll second that.
All right, Robin, we have a motion, a second. Call for the vote.
And there are no public comments in our public comment email, nor are there any raised hands. Councilmember Kong.
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia.
Yes.
Councilmember Ellis.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Schwartz.
Yes.
Mayor Mahovey.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, our next item in new business is a proposed guidelines for the fiscal year 2021 to 2022 grant and support program. And I believe this is going to Jenny in finance.
Good evening, City Council members, Mayor Mahovey.
Hello.
This is the proposed guidelines for the grant and support for fiscal year 21-22. Background history for the fiscal year 21-22 budget. The City of Bishop allocated $47,000 for community support. Historically, the City Council rewards this funding as grant and support. This year, we propose to award 9 to 10 grants totaling no more than $5,000 each to community-based nonprofit organizations. We have developed a grant and support information packet. This information packet would include the following items: fact sheet, grant requirements, grant submittal checklist, project proposal narrative, sample, project line budget, and sample final report. The information packet will provide clear communication to the community regarding what is required to receive a grant and support, and transparency in reporting how that awarded funding was used. So, did you guys have any questions?
No, I mean, I think this, it seems pretty thorough and reasonable. I mean, it does clearly spell out the guidelines, and so we can open this up for any nonprofit in the area to apply for. And then after we have applications, I'm sure you will go and score them, and then and then that's where a recommendation will be developed for us when we meet to discuss how to allocate it.
Yes, and we're expecting the final reports for last year's funding at the end of the month, so I can report out on that.
I was wondering if you guys would be interested in maybe making the grant guidelines less stringent. Some of these organizations sometimes might just need ongoing support for their regular ongoing expenses. And I feel like, in my opinion, I'm totally open to everything. We just want these people to exist. You know, I'm just really excited that they're here and that they're in the community, and whether or not it goes to something new and innovative or something that they've just been contributing year after year. To me, it seems like I'm just psyched that they're here. So I'm just, you know, I'm open to whatever, but I just felt like it was a little bit on the stringent side, that it has to be a kind of new and innovative program. Whereas, you know, let's just keep them going. It's not, you know, 5,000 to me seems not quite enough, you know, to get like a whole new program going. And it could just maybe help, you know, them staff another class or something like that. I'm open to anything, but I just felt like it was a bit stringent.
I see what you're saying. You're effectively, you're taking issue with the first bullet item in ineligible projects, right? Where it says an organization's ongoing expenditures. And I mean, I
Right.
agree with you that we shouldn't discount ongoing expenditures as and make it ineligible, but I would say we could maybe modify the criteria so that we give higher weight or higher scores to more innovative projects, but don't like limit ineligible expenses.
Yeah, I think that's a great recommendation.
What do you guys think? Because I agree. Like, I mean, the one thing that we don't want to fall under is the one thing that I would kind of that wouldn't say well is somebody's applying for $5,000 just for rent. And even though yes, they do well for the community, I can see it either way. So
Yeah, Stephen, I've done a ton of these, and I can agree with Mayor Pro Tem Schwartz on this, that it's kind of a little overkill. Between when this comes before the council, we the people the groups that come in bring us what they need the money for, and it's usually pretty well done. It's rare that something's just kind of, hey, we need money, give it to us. They lay out what they need. I think IRS forms and 13 copies of your staff and driver's licenses. And I think, I'm probably a little overkill there, but I think we've done a great job within a small community of, and I'm not beating you up, Jenny, in any way, shape, or form. I think what you're doing is stuff that is probably should be done, but does it need to be done? I don't know. I think I know we've cut some of the funding a little bit, and it's a little more of a battle, but I do like that. I think the council does a great job of weeding through here. And there's times when we do throw 5,000 at a group. Some group might need a little bit more. We have the flexibility to move money around. One group, we're giving you 1,200. That's because it's what we think all we can do. So I don't know. I like it, but I do agree with Karen on this one a little bit.
yeah. So I mean, I would say maybe a compromise is that we remove the explicit mention of ineligible projects and just kind of include those in some of the scoring criteria, and just say that the scoring would be higher for innovative projects, but it's not discounting it in any way, shape, or form. I'm okay with that.
All right, so remove ineligible projects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I have a couple of questions. So Dean, do we get into some sort of hinky situation if we start paying for things like ongoing expenses for these organizations? Does it mess with their 501c3? Does it put us in a position that we are regularly funding these people in some sort of way that is weird?
I don't know what weird means. Whether it raises issues for them tax-wise is really not the city's issue. I think that the application process is, I think that the council, Stephen's idea about weighting certain factors more is a perfectly reasonable suggestion, and council can put whatever they want on that. I mean, this is the big threshold you don't want to cross here, or that the warning line is this a gift of government funds? And we've already articulated that this has a public purpose. We can do these grants in support. And how the council, so long as it's not on a ground that's illegal in terms of distinguishing one business or one purpose versus another, I don't think that the type of issues that you all are talking about right now in terms of flexibility and excluding certain groups based upon just on expenses raises any legal issues for the city, if that answers your question.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean,
sorry, Stephen.
Sorry, no, go on. Go. continue.
I was just gonna say my second, and so I wasn't involved in this last year, so forgive me if we already have answered all these questions. One of the first things I said to poor Jenny when we started this was that when I first came in, I think it was my very first day, I walked in and said, this says 501c3, but we give the senior center money. And the senior center isn't a 501c3. So
we give the Inyo County Health.
Also not a 501c3.
Yes, and we made that exception for them because it's something that's funded every year. It was discussed.
Okay, so we're okay with having it, the language in there, but still considering making exceptions?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Based on Dean's reference to donating public funds, I am not okay removing all of the ineligible project bullet points, such as I don't think we should be issuing grants for personnel costs, self-labor expenses, general operational maintenance activities, scholarship or other direct support to individuals or families, fundraising, sponsorship, or prices for events. That is not the proper use of public funds. I'll be okay donating grants in the other eligible activities, but not for those.
And I thank you, Councilmember Garcia. I do think, I don't have it in front of me, but part of the benefit of having is kind of a benefit and a burden. Part of the benefit of having a very clear policy is that it doesn't put pressure on staff to make exceptions and to, you know, if the grounds are clear. So I think that there definitely does need to be a policy in terms of what we can give money to and not in building that into those exceptions. I think that's probably something the staff needs to look at, and then I can look at a little deeper, as opposed to giving this categorical okay about it's okay to give money for everything, as I'm not looking at these exact exemptions right now. If the direction from council is let's work on relaxing some of these while operating within the parameters of what we can safely and legally give money to, do we need some of those categorical prohibitions? Maybe. And so I just need to take a little deeper of a dive on each of those with finance to make sure that we're good to go there.
And I mean, and just to be clear, yeah, if we remove just the one that says an organization's ongoing expenditures, and if you actually look at the scoring criteria on the first bullet point, or on the first category, it says provide information describing what is unique and innovative about the proposed project. So it will, all of that, how the funds are getting used, it'll be up for discretion in the scoring criteria.
And I guess my last question is, you, Jen, said that you're going to come to us with kind of a rundown of how they spent the money last year and if they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, everybody's required to submit a final report. I think I've received everyone. There's 2 outstanding ones, which I'm sending reminders to, but they're due at the end of the month. And I figured when we were going over the grant proposals, it'd probably be the same agencies that are applying, and we can, you guys can review the reports to see what you felt about their expenditures for the prior year.
Great, that was what I was going to ask.
So are we tabling these items so that Dean and Jenny can look at it and bring it back to us later?
I mean, I'm okay approving it with the modifications that we discussed, where the modifications are that we relax the requirement about organizations' ongoing expenditures, and we have Dean have a look at the other ones and just make sure that those are, that we're being legally prudent in those exceptions.
Can I ask, Jenny, what is the timeline here? I mean, can we take council's direction as to bringing that relaxation and bring it back at the next council meeting? Or do you need to kick these out, or what? I just don't, that's a little too far into the weeds for me.
No, I mean, I was gonna, release these grant applications tomorrow, but we can always change the deadlines and move it back if you guys would like.
So the question, I guess, for council is, do you want to leave it at, with these applications will go out with the limited modification of releasing general expenses? Or do you want this brought back to you in terms of further relaxation and evaluation of those requirements before this round goes out?
It's in the best interest of the people applying for these grants to get it out there, and so we might as well, publish them as soon as possible. And I think staff has, our recommendation, and I'm not like overly concerned. I just didn't want people not to apply for these grants. And I didn't want it to be an onerous experience for them. So I'm fine with what we've discussed tonight.
So I'm gonna be obnoxious here. I'm sorry. It concerns me that there are other people out there who are not 501c3s who look at the application and they say, I can't apply. And then we traditionally make an exception for one organization who knows they can apply because they've been getting money for years. That worries me.
All we have to do to address that, Karen, is remove the line under eligibility that says organizations applying for grant funds must have a 501c3 status, because the first line says the eligibility is all nonprofit organizations providing services to the residents of Bishop are eligible to apply.
I would be thrilled with that change. Thank you.
Okay. And then all we would have to have is a checkbox in the application that says, are you a 501c3?
Okay.
That just feels so much cleaner to me. Thank you.
Okay. So, I mean, are we okay with releasing with the modifications that we discussed, removing the second line of the eligibility and removing the first bullet point of ineligible projects? And just adding a checkbox for, are you a 501c3?
There might be a few other adjustments that need to be done related to it, but I can fix those by tomorrow.
Okay.
I think we have a very good idea of what you would like us to do, and we will go through it and make those adjustments.
Sounds good. I don't think we need to bring this back on another evening and delay the process. Okay.
All right.
Then you guys have directed. Do we have any public comment on this item?
No public comment on the public comment email. Jenny, do you have any raised hands?
There are no raised hands.
Thank you.
Okay, then we will move on to our next item, which is municipal financial services firm. Council to select a municipal financial services firm to serve as the city's municipal financial advisor. Is this going to you, Ron?
Do we need to vote on that, Stephen? Okay.
Do we?
It just says approve, but I don't know if that meant a vote or not.
We do need a vote.
Pardon me?
We do need a vote, please.
Okay, then I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the grants and support information packet with the changes that we talked about with staff. Is that good enough?
Okay, Robin, we have a motion, a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Ellis,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Schwartz,
Yes.
Mayor Mahovey.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
All right. So municipal financial services firm, who's taking this one?
Thank you, Mayor Mahovey. I'll be taking this. We have been examining the issues around possibly using pension obligation bonds to pay off part or all of the city's pension unfunded liability over the past few weeks. And I feel that in order to deal with this matter adequately and with full professionalism, we feel it's important to select and bring on board a municipal financial advisor firm. So we've requested proposals from the three firms that you have the proposals in front of you. Cal Muni Advisors, NHA Advisors, and K&N Public Finance. The budget impact will vary depending on the services rendered, but for the initial analysis and development of the unfunded liability policy, we anticipate a cost between $7,500 and $15,000. I recommend that the council select K&N Public Finance as the firm with the best qualifications to serve as the city's municipal financial advisor.
Okay, and you're basing that recommendation on experience. I mean, they obviously have they've worked with a bunch of different cities.
Yeah, and their response to us, the others were coming on pretty strong with financing the total amount that we owe. This group had a different approach where they felt that it was more protective of the city's financial interests in the future to perhaps look at financing part of the unfunded liability, not necessarily all of it, because if we finance all of it and the market goes down and the return on investment with CalPERS is not as positive as it's been the last couple of years, we'd have a chance of being in worse financial shape. So I just have been impressed with their recommendations to us as we've talked with them up to this point.
I mean, all of these, I know when, and I mean, I don't have that much experience with like financial advising and everything, but I know personally, you should always try to look for a advisor that's like fiduciary, so they're not necessarily selling products to make them money, but that's on a personal level. Do such things exist for these sorts of entities, or I guess?
Not really, but that's the reason that I was impressed with. Part of the reason I was impressed with these people is that they didn't seem to be pushing for what would bring them the most return by saying, yeah, you need to finance your total unfunded liability.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys think?
So all we're talking about to begin with, Ron, is having them look at this one issue. We're not making any obligation to them other than that initial look.
Well, I think that if we have other kinds of financing opportunities or wishes in the future, that we'd probably use the same firm because we'd select them as our municipal financial advisor. And we'd go to them with questions and develop a relationship, much as like we do with legal services and other kinds of services.
And I said that wrong. What I'm asking you is there's no financial obligation until we ask them questions.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
They look fine to me. I'm not, an expert in municipal finance, but I trust your research, and I do like the fact that they don't want to refinance the entire amount of our debt and take a more conservative approach. I think that's the best for the city.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. My one reservation that I would have with K&N is they do have a very impressive portfolio of cities that they represent, and they're all large. And so how much would they pay attention to what's best for Little Old Bishop versus what has worked with extremely large cities with giant budgets?
That was my second question, Stephen, was, are we going to get pushed to the bottom because our numbers are not the same as San Francisco or LA?
Well, I think it's interesting that Mr. Broadsley, who I've been dealing with, loves Bishop and sees this as an opportunity he's been looking forward to.
I mean, I guess that's the other thing on their side, right? That they already have a big market share of the really large cities, and how do they expand their business without going into the smaller ones? So, and if we get in early, we could, I don't know. I mean, but any decision that we make right now, it's just there's no legal obligations that we're held to at this point. Is that correct, Jean?
Yeah, you're hiring a financial advisor, so the advice you don't like, you don't have to take it. So.
But I do think it definitely, I mean, when we're talking about our unfunded liability, it's on order for the public to be aware, it's on order of $11 million. And we are currently paying 7% penalty on that every year. And so this is why this is something that we've definitely been highlighting and pushing forward to address, because there are other options so that we don't end up having to pay as much. And I think none of us, I feel, would be super qualified to make a decision on an $11 million outstanding debt without consulting with professionals. And so I think it's a good thing that we're actually pursuing this route.
Yeah, I like this company, and from going through their portfolio, yeah, there are a bunch of large cities in there, but you look inside there, there's also the small school districts, the community service districts. So they touch on, it's not all $300 million pots of gold they're playing with. There's some 8 millions in there and 3.4s, and there's a little bit of everything. So I think they have a good depth, which I like. And it seems like, well, I mean, all the presentations show that this is a problem, but that company seems to have a good handle on it. So good job, Ron.
Thank you.
Do we have any public comment?
There are no public comments in our public comment email. I do not see any raised hands. Jenny, can you confirm?
There are no raised hands.
Thank you.
Do we want to make a motion?
So, sorry, I don't, I'm not sure what I was trying to figure out what the staff report said here.
It says action requested.
Yeah, there is no contract attached, correct? So I'm not sure that we know what the terms of the contract would be for the council to act on it.
Can we bring this back next meeting with a contract with financial terms involved?
I mean, they do say what their rates are in their packet.
But do we have a set maximum that we're going to budget, that we're going to allow to spend on this, or any parameters of where this is going to go?
What the contract will say once we get that negotiated is how much they charge for certain services, and how much they charge per hour and that type of thing. What I've asked with the action requested is that the council, through a motion, that you select the firm out of these three that you then want us to go into contract with, and we'll bring the final contract back to you when it's ready.
So with that said, I think our staff's been given direction. If that's the council's direction is to go with this provider, then no motion's necessary to authorize staff to negotiate and prepare a final contract.
Okay, and then I think you have direction to approach KNN for these particular services.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you.
We good? Cool. Yeah, thanks for doing all the homework and seeing what was out there and helping us make our decision a lot easier. And moving on to our last item in new business, it's discuss fleet management. Council to discuss the information presented on a proposed fleet management contract and direct staff to proceed or not on negotiating a fleet management contract. And this is back to you.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor Mahovey.
Okay.
Members of the council. The city's management of its fleet has not been very systematic in the past. And we have quite a few vehicles that need replacement. Enterprise Fleet Management reached out to us, and we've been in discussions with them for the past few months. And we think it's timely for the representatives of Enterprise Fleet Management to make their presentation to the city council. Inyo County and Kern County are currently using Enterprise Fleet Management for this purpose. But I want to say straight up at the beginning of this that Destin Deshawn and Chief Standridge and I have been discussing this the past few days, and will not be asking you to make a recommendation to us to go into contract at this point. We want you to receive this information from Fleet Management, from Enterprise Fleet Management, and then we're going to do a little more due diligence and come back to you in the future with a more firm recommendation. We have Omar Herrera with us from Enterprise, and Richard Morel, is that correct, Richard?
Correct.
Who will make a brief presentation, and then we'll open it for discussion.
Okay, thank you, Ron. And good evening, everyone, to everyone attending. First and foremost, Rich and I are both very excited for the opportunity to be here today. Like Ron mentioned, in the last 4 months, we've had the pleasure to working very closely with the City Administrator, Ron Phillips, Director of Public Works, Destin Deshawn, and Chief Standridge. Enterprise Fleet Management here is designed to assist municipalities like the City of Bishop reduce their expenses associated to the current fleet operation. Taking a holistic approach and analyzing from a total cost of ownership, which will include acquisition, maintenance, fuel expenses, and resale values into consideration. Currently, we are partnered with entities like your very own Inyo County, Fresno County, Kern County, Madera County, and Mariposa County, to name a few. Enterprise Fleet Management is a part of the Enterprise Rent-A-Car family, which allows us access to vehicle acquisition directly from manufacturers at the lowest cost possible. Being under the same umbrella, it also allows us to take advantage of and utilize a network of roughly over 80,000 maintenance facilities throughout the entire nation. These relationships have allowed us to present a plan that will allow Bishop in minimizing overall downtime alongside with maintenance expenses across the entire fleet. In working with Ron, Chief Standridge, and Destin, we've helped design a 10-year program that will save the city roughly $318,000 over the next 10 years. Vehicles on the police department side will be on a replacement plan of 5 years. Administration and public work vehicles will vary between one to 3 year replacement plan, depending on the vehicle type and usage. Using our resale program to sell vehicles at the end of their term will give us the ability to help lower the city's annual fleet operating expense. The 10-year model includes all maintenance costs for all vehicles within the city's fleet, and we are excited for the opportunity to partner with the city of Bishop. Before I open it up for any questions, just the current situation that we are currently in with the city of Bishop. Currently, the current average age of the fleet today is at 11.3 years. Currently a life cycle of about 13.8 years, with the main objective of identifying an effective vehicle life cycle that will maximize potential equity at the time of resale, creating a conservative savings of, like I mentioned, $318,000 in the next 10 years. Not only that, it will increase employee safety with newer vehicles. Currently, 33% of the vehicles are pre-anti-lock brake standardization or 2007 or older. 24% of the vehicles are predicate electronic stability control or older than 2012. And 15 vehicles predicate standardization of backup camera, 2018 or older. Results in a partnership with Enterprise Fleet Management here. By partnering with us, the city of Bishop will be able to better leverage its buying power, implement a tighter controlled resale program to lower the total cost of ownership and in turn minimize operational spend. The city of Bishop will reduce fuel costs by 24%, reduce maintenance costs from $120 on average to $30.44 per unit. Leveraging an open-end lease maximizes cash flow and recognizes equity from vehicles sold, creating an internal replacement fund. Furthermore, the city of Bishop will leverage Enterprise Fleet Management's ability to sell vehicles at an average of 109% above Black Book value. Currently, with the used vehicle market being so strong, currently sitting at about 120% above Black Book value. By shifting from reactively replacing inoperable vehicles to proactive planning vehicle purchases, the city of Bishop will be able to replace all of its vehicles over the course of 4 years while creating an annual savings of $37,000. Now, Rich and I are prepared to answer any questions you may have regarding our proposal.
It seems like a reasonable thing to do. Right now, we definitely have a very small staff and a very old fleet, and I would say our management has historically been just fix what's broken, replace as needed, and incur all of the capital costs. So I don't know of anybody at the city that actually wants to be doing fleet management.
Mr. Herr, does this open us up to buying options and purchase options? You talked about the lease thing. Give us the leverage component to get better pricing or access to bigger government contracts?
Omar, I'll jump into that. Jim, yes, absolutely. As part of Enterprise, we buy directly from the factory. So we're not marking up vehicles. We're not doing anything to them. We're buying them directly to the factory. We're seeking all of the municipal incentives, everything that's out there. We're bidding out the aftermarket concepts. So we're giving you the vehicles at the absolute lowest cost, directly from the factory. They're not bypassing at a dealer, paying advertising fees or anything that goes into it. So we're confident in any price that we throw out in front of you that you're going to get the lowest price. Now, when we say leasing vehicles, Enterprise is not just going to want to lease vehicles to you. We're going to make the best recommendation every year for what's best for the city, but you can purchase the vehicles, you can finance the vehicles, you can do whatever you want with the vehicles. But what Omar was stating earlier, where Enterprise shines is selling vehicles. And so for that total lowest cost, operating cost, the lowest point there, we're going to sell those vehicles at the right time for you. And with a city like yours that does low miles, we're going to look at that every year. But you're not tied to anything. We're going to get the vehicle for you at the lowest cost. However you choose to pay for the vehicle is up to the city.
All right, follow-up question on that then, Richard and Omar. Police vehicles are pretty specialized. Will you tie into that too and help through the whole process, outfitting, and work with that?
So the great thing is that we'll get the vehicle for you at the lowest cost from the factory. We don't charge you a single penny until that vehicle is delivered turnkey, ready to go. So if we're upfitting it with radios, light bars, beacons, everything that needs to go into that, we're going to coordinate all those pieces. And not until we deliver that vehicle and you walk around the vehicle and it's 100% inspected, that's when we charge you for the vehicle. So in most cases, if you purchase from a dealer or anything else, you're going to pay for those costs up front. We're going to pay for all that. We're going to make sure we upfit it correctly. So if that vehicle shows up and a light bar's off or something's not correctly on there, we're going to take it back, get it all coordinated. That's when you start making your payment with Enterprise.
Perfect, thank you. And Destin, this is I know your fleet especially is hitting the aging, what are we going to do component. Is this a good program in your opinion?
Yeah, I definitely think it is for us in the pickup world. They can only, what we found out is just our flatbed trucks up to like the 450 pickups, they can deal with it. And so it's our light truck fleet. But yeah, I think that Public Works has always just drove trucks till they fell apart. And you know, maybe it's a good investment, maybe not, but then when you try to keep them alive at the end, and I think is where we're losing, where this would be a big advantage to us.
So one of the things, I'm sorry.
No, please, go ahead.
So one of the things I wanted to point out to council too is part of what City Administrator Phillips was talking about, our due diligence kind of at the 11th hour, since I've never been involved in a leased vehicle type program. I am looking at what it would cost the city if we did purchase versus the lease, because when we enter into this, I want to make sure that we have made the best possible decision as we're trying to be as fiscally responsible as possible. So in working with Richard and Omar, I think we're moving definitely in that direction. So I should have some additional quotes by the next time we come to council with this to let you know that we are making the absolute correct decision. One of the things too, as far as upfitting, we have always went with the same upfitter, which I'm pretty comfortable doing. But however, again, I want to show you that we are getting the best value for our dollar. And by working with these two gentlemen here, that will give us some more flexibilities. We'll have additional options to some potential upfitters that may be able to actually save us money while at the same time being more efficient as we get ready to get cars that'll hit the road immediately as soon as they get here, instead of getting here and then having to go through an upfit process for a week or two and graphics and everything. They will come, roll off the truck, we'll do an inspection on them, and they'll go to work. The one thing council will see, and I'm not going to hide it from you, is probably potentially for 2 to 3 years, you will see a little uptick in police cost. And that is because I want to eventually phase out our Dodge fleet. I've talked with staff. They agree with me in this environment and the way cars are available and the way we need to get maintenance done. Dodges are no longer feasible as we do not have a Dodge dealer anywhere in this area. So we will have to take cars either to Ridgecrest, Tehachapi, potentially Bakersfield, or even all the way up to Reno. So by going with Ford, the Enterprise gentleman here can help us keep some of our maintenance dollars spent locally, thus coming back into our economy instead of sending it somewhere else. So if we have to have a slight, increase in the first couple of years as we transition solely to Ford, I think that's money well spent, because it'll come back to us years down the road in fiscal responsibility locally.
And that's because a lot of the equipment wouldn't be able to be transferred directly from the Dodge into the Ford vehicles.
Correct. So that's my decision is we get the fleet. I want the fleet to be all the same vehicles. No longer piecemeal. Ford goes out of service, Ford comes back into service. I mean, they're proven. They have about 90% of the market for a reason. Every agency is just about in Ford. Primarily, especially in this area, we do get snow, we do get inclement weather. And I think it would behoove us to have an SUV type vehicle, not only for road safety, but also as officers get in and out, the Fords reduce back injury potential and things like that. So I'm looking at the total package as to why we're moving the direction we're going.
Rich, currently the Charger vehicles, if something happens and they have to be shipped to Carson City or Ridgecrest, if it's, who pays for that?
We do.
That shipping costs the downtime for us.
We do, because we're shuttling them down there. I haven't had to do it since I've been here, but in talking with staff, we have to take two cars down there, a car and the Dodge. And then we have to bring ourselves back. Then we have to go down there and pick them up, or we're having to pay to have that done. So for the ones that are under warranty work, otherwise we can get them worked on here locally if they're not warranty work. So, but the way I look at it, if we get Fords, we have a Ford dealer here, they're not going out of business and keeps our local money here, and we can get the work done at a dealership. In my opinion, that's the best way to go. Keep
that cost could add up quickly. You're paying 2 officers overtime and gas and per diem and so on and so forth. That's half the cost of that repair.
Yes.
So, all right, good, thank you.
Well, can I add a couple more things if that's okay?
Sure.
In my conversation with partners, I reached out to Kern County. Kern County gave me a pretty good assessment of their dealings with Enterprise. Their sheriff's department does not, but for reasons not really relevant, they haven't jumped on board with that yet. But their total government entity is, other than the sheriff's department, is with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. They had great things to say. They talked directly about the value, and they said they would even talk numbers with Ron and I if we needed them to. But at this point, I didn't think we really needed to go that route because their numbers would be significantly higher than ours. So it would be really kind of hard to gauge, the bang for the buck. And I think both of the gentlemen here have done a pretty good job in presenting that to us. I did reach out to Inyo County, and I've talked with their fleet manager, and they're pretty happy with what they're doing. There's always some things that folks aren't happy with, but on Inyo County's end, that has nothing to do with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. That's some internal issues.
One thing too that I'd like to add, and Rich and I talked about this, is with changing vehicles a little more often in the 1 to 3 year range, maybe with Public Works and 5 with the police department, is that the equipment that's on these vehicles can be moved right over to a new vehicle. Right now, we have such a huge expense because they're 15 to 20-year-old cars, and none of the equipment is compatible with them. So there's definitely some advantages to changing more often, for sure, financially.
Oh, and as the people from Enterprise point out, if you're changing more often, you get a higher resale for the vehicle, and then that's what ends up saving you money in the long term. And so I think, it makes in my mind, it makes sense. I think also another benefit of going with such a fleet management system is that we will actually have detailed information on how the cars are being used, especially with regards to how much mileage is being put on them, how often they're getting fueled, and we'll actually have a detailed expense report that comes out with it, which currently we don't have. I think at this point, I would say we're like 85% of the way on going this route, but we need to make sure that since we're using public funds, we're doing them in the most prudent way possible. And so we definitely have some other considerations that we want to take into account before we commit in any way. And so I definitely want to thank you two from Enterprise for showing up today. Even it might seem like the rug was pulled out at the last minute, but we just don't feel like that's the case. We're just doing our due diligence, especially now that we have a new police chief that's been on for, what are you at, 8 weeks?
This is it. This is it. But to their credit, Mayor, I did talk with both of these gentlemen today. They were very accommodating and understanding as to what it is I'm doing. And what I appreciated about their professionalism is that they're confident that their price is going to beat what I can find. But like I told them, it's just something I feel I need to do. So when we present this, and Ron is gonna talk to you about signing a contract that I want to make sure that we've done what we need to do, and I don't have any buyer's remorse when we move forward.
So can I ask one quick question? Because I think in general, this is a great idea. I'm sort of the beat my cars till they're dead mindsets. And so I guess what I want to know from Omar and Richard is those numbers you had about replacing, these kind of cars every 1 to 3 years, these kind of cars every 5 years. Is that just a generalized thing and you're going to be able to drill down on our cars specifically? Or is it just sort of something that most people, that's the way it works for most of you?
I'm going to speak up really quick. Omar's been way more heavily involved, but those numbers are specific to your fleet. So we've looked at your maintenance costs, your fuel cost, everything. And I've personally been doing this for 16 years. And I work really closely with some cities locally. I'm in Orange County, like City of Westminster. And we've started out on a 3 to 5 year cycle. And in some cases, we actually cycle their vehicles out every year, because the one thing with municipalities is that the manufacturers give so much money off the front end of the vehicle that you can turn those vehicles over so soon with a small city territory. And sometimes it doesn't cost you anything. And with the City of Westminster, a very small city specifically, we turn their vehicles, 90% of them every single year. And they get more money back than they paid for the vehicle. Now, our agreement with the manufacturers is that anybody we give the vehicles to at the pricing, they ride for at least 12 months. So we can't look at it till then. But Omar, myself, our entire team, we'll look at it every single year, and we'll come out to your team and say, hey, this is the right time to replace these vehicles because of how the market's doing.
Great. That's what I was wondering. Thank you.
And if I can, I think this might be a good time to go ahead and throw it out here since I have everyone's attention. We even talked about keeping the color scheme on the vehicles all black. That is an additional cost savings. Also, it's a little more durable in this environment as well. So we're looking at every aspect of cost savings in order to put the best functional and best looking fleet out there for the citizens of Bishop possible. This is not just me. This is a whole staff effort here. And so far, I think we're moving forward in the right direction, and I appreciate the effort both of these gentlemen have brought forth to council today, and I think we'll be happy with them. But again, we just have to do that last couple of items of due diligence.
Do we have any other comments or questions for Omar or Rich, or our Rich?
I think this is a great program. We should get a more detailed estimate of what it will cost us. And thank you for your time, gentlemen. It makes sense that we go into this management fleet program.
Do we have any comments or questions from the public?
There are no public comments on the public comment email. I do not see any raised hands. Jenny, can you confirm?
There are no raised hands.
Thank you.
Okay, then I definitely want to thank you guys for taking your time for joining us, and yeah, we'll definitely get some sort of a once our chief of police is done doing his due diligence, we'll get I'm sure we'll see an item like this back in the future.
We appreciate it. Everybody we've worked with has been incredible to work with. So thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Thanks, Omar.
All right. Then we'll move on to future agenda items. Karen Kong.
I talked about everything I wanted to see in the future, so I think we're good.
Okay. Jose Garcia.
I have nothing.
Jim Ellis.
All good here.
Karen Schwartz.
Nothing.
All right. And I also don't have any new future agenda items. And now we move on to council and committee reports. Karen Kong.
So besides the having the privilege of judging both the pie and the cookie contest at the fair with Stephen and Jose. It's been kind of a busy couple weeks for me. The Owens Valley Groundwater Authority has come out with their draft plan. They sent it to us. We reviewed it all, 230 pages plus appendices. And last week we voted to release it for public comment. It will have a 45-day public comment period. Not right this second, but here in another couple of weeks that will happen. And there will be at least 2 public meetings for people to review it. In addition, they will come to us as a council to go over what the plan is for the Bishop area and for the management area that is ours specific. And then I wanted to tell everyone about a project that I've been working on with Jim with Eastern Sierra Transit. There was a law back in 2017 that required people to have car seats on the buses if the buses had seat belts. And I got concerned about the equity of that. And if you're a bus rider, you might not have a car seat for your child. And so thanks to Jim and Mr. Vallejo from County Council and Phil, they have come up with a wonderful problem solving step for this. They're going to, in all of the new buses that they order, the buses are now being created with harness systems for a few of the seats, so that will satisfy the requirements for the new buses. And they're also looking to retrofit at least one of the seats in the buses that are currently running in Bishop, so that they will also have the harness factor. So I'm thrilled about that and how much easier it was to solve than I had anticipated. So I think that's all I got.
Okay, that sounds like good progress. Good job with that. Jose Garcia.
Stephen Mahovic.
Council Committee report.
Okay. None of the committees met during the last few weeks. However, it was fun judging the cookie contest on Saturday with you both, Karen and Steven. I'm sorry that your favorite didn't win first prize. It's just the way it is, I guess. Democracy wins.
It's the older palates. They just don't get it.
We just don't have the same taste, I guess. I don't know. It's next year, maybe we'll like the same cookie.
No worries.
No, but it was fun. It was a great, and I have to give a big shout out to Jen and the whole board, fair board, and all the volunteers and workers, and you, Stephen, that volunteer. It was a great event. I think it was needed. The whole community, everyone attending, enjoyed it. So it was good. However, I did attend it last week, the first part of the Chamber of Commerce strategic plan meeting, where they approved some changes to the membership structure coming up, and some changes on the fees as well. They're looking to attract more members, and I think they're going to be very successful. What else? I think, well, besides meeting with Ms. Bailey, tribal administrator, and talking to her about the proclamation, I have nothing else to report.
Good. Jim, do you have any council committee reports?
Quickly, it's been pretty quiet on the council side. Jose, thank you for giving the kudos to the fair. I think Jen did a great job at putting this together. The entertainment was top notch. I think the community needed that. James Truels on the little tractor racing around out there made it fun at the Destruction Derby. Karen, thank you for so much fun at the events, entertaining me. I think there's some there's going to be some room for some improvements, I think, but I like that the Fair Board and Jen are open to that, and it'd be a kind of a, trial and error a little bit. So it was a great event. It was good to see the public out there. I got a call yesterday. Coming up here pretty soon before our next meeting is the Law's Good Old Days on the 25th. And Cam and I will be doing our annual pie battle, which I think she's ahead by 1 right now. Yeah, but I'm going to crush her this year pretty bad with a secret pie. So if the council wants to get involved in that, reach out to Laws. It's a great event. They use the pie sales to help further their process. And then up in Sacramento next week, Thursday, if the council can, there's going to be, if you've looked at the agendas and what classes are available and what sessions are going to be happening, there's a Rural Cities Exchange, information exchange meeting on that Thursday. And it's a great meeting to go to talk to small rural communities such as ourselves. And it's just a great chance to hear what's going on, what the other problems are, innovative ideas, what's happening within other rural communities and how it might impact us and what some solutions are. So in the past, when I've been there, it's just a great opportunity. I recommend that one component to everybody. And then at the next time we meet, we'll have a bunch of stuff to talk about from the conference and what we found and ideas we came up with. So thank you.
Sure, I definitely won't miss that. Karen Schwartz, Council Committee Report.
The ESTA meeting was canceled, and today I attended the ESSRP meeting, and there were a lot of Forest Service government employees on it, and they are hoping to give us an update soon on hopefully the closure, not extending is what I'm hoping for. So we'll see. Keep your ears tuned on what happens. Hopefully something modified, if anything. And they talked about using the closure to clean up a bunch of fire rings in dispersed areas that shouldn't be there. The fair was fantastic, and I heard they had record-breaking numbers, which hopefully that's not due to the forest closure, because there was a joke that maybe they'll close the forest every year so the fair could do so well. But no, I'm just kidding. But it was a great fair, and the Fair Board and Jen just did a tremendous job. It's a total service to our community to have such an outstanding Tri-County fair here in our small rural community. And that's it.
Nice. Yeah, and I will follow on that with my report. So the LTC has been canceled this week due to lack of items on the agenda. I will definitely be attending the League of California Cities meeting next week, and I'll definitely check out that particular session. The fair, I can't say more. I love the fair. It is one of my favorite times of the year, and it was definitely packed, and it was great to see so many people excited to be there. It was amazing. I had the honor of judging the pies and the cookies. I volunteered, and everybody did a wonderful job there. I did get my wristband and ride so many rides after pie. After eating pie, it was great. And along the same lines, the Friday night market last Friday was an extreme success. Everybody there was super excited, and it was just a great event. And I'm glad that it will have at least one more of those. And so if we have vendors who want to sell, definitely contact Gay Mueller or contact us and we'll put you in touch with them. Yeah, it's been great with all of the activities going on around town. And and I'm looking forward to having lunch with the tribe tomorrow. Hopefully see you guys all there. And if there's nothing else, we'll adjourn this meeting until our next scheduled meeting, Monday, September 27 at 6 p.m. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.